being 3 o'clock, we can call the April 19th meeting of the Laconia Police Commission to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners Tar, Mello, and Whittam are present, so we do have a quorum here. I'd like to recognize the staff present: Chief Matthew J. Canfield, Captain Alan Drayton, Lieutenant Richard Simmons, Lieutenant Thomas Sweat, Lieutenant Michael P. Fanogle, and Prosecutor Sawyer is not going to be absent. Personnel matters, Chief Canfield, accommodations and awards.
Our annual awards banquet will be on May 15th at 6 p.m.
And that is at the Bean
Correct.
Conference Center.
6 o'clock, May 15th.
Training, Lieutenant Fanogle.
Officer Sedgley just completed his field training officer school, so he'll be one of our new field training officers for the new hires. And we just finished our yearly qualifications department-wide for handgun. That's about it, unless you have any questions about the other orders.
Miscellaneous, Laconia Links, Chief Canfield.
Nothing.
Resignations and retirement, Chief Canfield.
Nothing.
Hirings, Lieutenant Fanogle.
Connor Sutherland just completed the in-house training program. He's on a one-week shadowing program where he's just going to follow one of the officers. His academy starts in less than a week and a half, which time he'll be gone for 16 weeks.
What's the current status of vacancies, Lieutenant?
So we were running 4 backgrounds. One's actually completed and awaiting approval from the chief. That's on his desk. And we've got 3 others that are going through backgrounds with a tentative hire date of July 9th, if they successfully navigate the background process.
Promotions, classification changes, Chief Canfield.
Nothing.
Operations Support Division Commander, Captain Grayton.
I'd like to thank Commissioner Mello. He was speaking earlier. He attended the funeral for Officer Sean Gannon in Yarmouth with myself and Lieutenant Simmons yesterday. He was a big help getting us off the Cape. The way we wanted to go wasn't the optional way, and we got a workabout. It'd still take us a while to get off of there. So he marched with us, and he held up very well. Surprised, didn't fall asleep in the car either. I really want to thank him for going down. It meant a lot to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So working on planning with our outside agencies for Motorcycle Week. I've got Lieutenant Simmons sent out the schedule to the outside agencies to see what areas they could fill in for us. I've also got most of the schedule done for the LPD employees. And we have the Motorcycle Week briefing breakfast on May 30th at 9 a.m. at the Taylor home.
Moving on, Support Division, Captain Grayton.
Do you have anything?
Nothing.
Nothing. Operations Division, Lieutenant Simmons.
Probably can't tell by the weather, but we're moving into our summer schedule. Schedule's pretty tight, you know. Lieutenant Fanogle brought up the hiring that's coming on, but we're obviously not going to be able to use any of those people during the summer to get them through training. We're in the process of planning for several events in addition to Bike Week. Memorial Day weekend is coming up, the 4th of July celebration that's the night of the 3rd in the Weirs. The fireworks kick off at midnight. Then on the 7th is the Opeachy event that's also going to have a parade. We have a Little League parade coming up this weekend. Don Kimptis, our part-time officer, will be back for the summer. He's a huge help. He does a great job up there in the Weirs all summer. We've been doing, Lieutenant Sweat and I have been doing, continuing the active shooter training. We just did one at the church on Province Street on Monday. We did another one on Tuesday at Empire Beauty School. We go out to the building beforehand, meet up with some of the key people, do a walkthrough of the building, and then we put on the presentation. And we typically talk about a little more than just the active shooter event, some of the other issues that they could have. Holly Callanan did a job fair at VOTEC recently. Kevin Short is teaching defensive tactics over at the VOTEC for the criminal justice class. It wasn't here last month, so DARE is all wrapped up now. Officer Moynihan did a great job with that. And National Night Out will be on August 7th. We're already starting planning on that.
Moving on, Detective Division, Lieutenant Sweat.
In your packet, you had some materials I put in there based on a question that was asked last meeting about sexual offenders and registration requirements and all that. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, and if anybody had any questions about that.
How much time is spent dealing with one individual in regards to this? Any estimate? I mean,
A new registration takes longer. A re-registration is probably 20 to 30 minutes. A new registration can be a little longer than that, going through everything for the first time. And
So-
as you notice, some of the, a Tier 3 is 4 times a year, a Tier 2 and a Tier 1 can be either twice or annual, depending on where they fall in the matrix. So it's a significant amount of time every year.
so 80 to 100 people at 20 to 30 minutes a pop that's over the year, that's a lot of time.
Especially the ones that come in 4 times.
Yeah.
I guess this is just general observation. I was a little surprised that the reporting requirements are the same for Tier 3 and Tier 2.
Yep.
When I guess, they're divided, I guess, by the severity of the offense, but they have the same reporting requirements. Am I reading that right?
Yes,
Tom?
I don't actually know why the tiers are set up that way, especially where they both seem to have, they got registered for life.
Yeah.
Looking at the categories, though, it's sort of sex crimes versus crimes against persons other, I mean, generally. That-
Tier 3 Megan's Law? Or the-
No, that's serious felonies
Oh, okay.
against people. In general, that's the
I
category.
guess I also didn't realize that first-degree murders were part of this registration program. Is that something that's fairly new, or?
I don't know.
What many do we have in Laconia, registered people roughly?
It's about 70 right now.
70?
And it comes and goes. We average between 60 and 100. People move in, people move out. People go to jail.
Does the PD have I know some of the bigger departments have a sex offender compliance unit? Where they're able to.
That would be Jeff Wally mostly.
Yeah. So yours is Jeff?
Yeah, and the state police do spot checks too.
They do?
Yeah. They have a unit that does that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nothing on the legal division. Commission action, the acceptance of the minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a motion to have those minutes accepted?
So moved.
Second. On a motion made by Mr. Mello, Commissioner Mello, and seconded by Commissioner Tar. We pass it unanimously. All agreed?
Yes, aye.
Good. Moving on,
Actually,
department.
excuse me, I do have a question
Yes.
now about not about the minutes, but related to the minutes. When Counselor Cheney was here at the last meeting, there was some issue about the monthly activity report that we get versus different than what the council was getting, Matt? Are you gonna follow up on that, or?
I did follow up on it, and it was the way the stats were being run at different times in the month. That's where the numbers were different. We've since clarified that, and the numbers that the council gets are the same numbers that you'll get. It'll be run, I guess we simplified the report the way it was being run. Robin was running it the one way, and then Deb was running it a different way at different times of the month. That's why the numbers were different. Both were accurate, it's just the time of the month. So it's been fixed.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Review of monthly activity reports, department monthly highlights, Chief Canfield.
So total calls for month, for service this month were 1,659 calls for service, as compared to last year, the same month was 1,644. 301 criminal offenses investigated, 198 arrests, cleared by, or offenses cleared by arrest, with a total of 117 physical arrests, 381 motor vehicle stops, 17 motor vehicle summonses, 343 written warnings. I'm happy to say we had no fatal accidents. We had a total of 44 total motor vehicle accidents, 10 of which involved injury. 54 parking tags were issued, 40 WI arrests, and 27 people were taken into custody for intoxication. We had a total of 2 hours for volunteer hours for LPD employees, 16 hours for victim services unit, and serving a total of 15 victims.
Monthly fleet report, Lieutenant Von Ogle.
We just received one of our newest cruisers back from the shop after it was involved in an accident. Other than that, unless you have any questions. We did add, today we took delivery of 20 cruiser kits to protect against biohazard and carfentanil scenes if we're processing vehicles. So each car's now going to have a kit to protect the officers against such threats. And that's it.
The investigative unit statistics, Lieutenant Sweat.
I noticed a uptick in initial cases, and that's sort of explained by the amount of patrol shifts detectives are covering. They're taking a lot more initial cases, still have to be followed up. Lieutenant Simmons and myself coordinate pretty closely to try to keep the cases flowing in a logical way. You see there's a lot of training hours the detectives are providing, especially during firearms, and backgrounds are extremely time consuming. And even though it resulted in a certain amount of hires, some people were disqualified, but the background still had to be done to get to that point. So it seems to be going well, but nice to have some more people. No pressure.
The polygraph exams are, that's in conjunction with the hiring process?
Yeah,
With
that,
criminal cases.
criminal cases, hirings, and we also will do it for some of our law enforcement partners in the area, especially if there's a conflict for one of the other polygraphers in the area.
Traffic statistics. There. Budget printout. Captain Grayton.
Any questions? We seem to be on track right now, headed towards the end of the year. Overall, we are, at the end of last month, we're at 72%, 72.29% expended, which a perfect number would have been 75, so we're just a little tiny bit under our expenditure year to date.
I don't see any problem areas the last quarter of the year here. Budget problem, no.
No, don't see any issues.
Correspondence to and from the department, Chief Canfield.
That was a nice thank you letter from UNH Police Chief Paul Dean. Officer Joe Marquis went down there and helped him with an active shooter training. They're one of our law enforcement partners, and certainly they reciprocate that when we need help in the same category. There was a donation to the Greater Lakes Child Advocacy Center, supporting a need for food and clothing. He wished to remain anonymous, so I won't mention his name, but very nice gentleman who's a very generous donor and looking out for kids in our area. There was a nice thank you letter from Mr. Baldwin from Secure Investigations concerning Officer Danute and an investigation she assisted on. I think Lieutenant Simmons mentioned it, but Officer Brian Moynihan completed the DARE graduations. This was his first year, and for our first year DARE instructor, he did an outstanding job with not only teaching the program, but certainly building rapport with these kids. Some of these kids come from troubled homes, and certainly the rapport that he builds with them and their families is remarkable. But in culmination of that, he did the graduations, and they were all well attended, and they did a great job for his first year.
I'd like to comment on that. I went to 3 of the graduations, and for a man for the first time doing it, I thought he did a tremendous job. And, I told him so, and of course, the other officer there, I won't mention her name, but I said, no reflection upon you that this is any harm to you, because you probably did a good job. I didn't see you do it, so. But, she said, okay.
Yeah, and certainly, Officer Michelle Cardinal, she did the DARE program for many years before that, and she's taken Brian under her wing, and she mentored him through that and helped him. And, matter of fact, I think she showed up to several of the graduations on her own time. She just came in to help him and be there for him, so just kind of kudos to the quality people we have. There was
Just like to throw out too, Alex Sweat, our part-time dispatcher, helped out by wearing the Darren suit, even when there was a broken fan in there, so that was pretty tough. She had to be brought back into a room so she didn't drop out. But she did an excellent job, and then Kyle Jepson also volunteered, as he's done a lot of times before, and he really does a great job. That's a lot of work to jump in and help. And I want to thank Commissioner Mello, too, for coming to those graduations. It was nice to see you there.
It was really pleasing to see the kids. They and to see how they acted and everything else, and it's great. It's really great to see the kids like that, and they're happy, and I know there's just words I can't say more that would improve what has been going on. It really was great, and I'm glad I went to it.
there was a thank you letter from the Clary family. They went down to their calling hours. Thank you for a ride-along, as well as a thank you letter from the Guilford Police Department for some assistance provided in providing some coverage for them when they did some training. That was pretty much it.
Okay, moving on to the chief's report. Chief Canfield.
Speaking of the DARE program, Officer Moynihan has taken on the teaching a program at the middle school. It's modeled after a junior citizen police academy. It's an after-school program, 2 hours a week for 10 weeks. Again, building that rapport with the students, and hopefully it'll lead into doing a more formalized drug education program, which is what our hopes are for next year. I've been doing a lot of work on that governor's task force for school safety. We've had a number of full task force meetings, as well as some subcommittees that I'm on as well. In combination with that, May 7th, Lieutenant Sweat has been working on doing a tabletop exercise for our immediate law enforcement partners and EMS partners. Actually, a board game, I should say. It's a command and control training focused on an active shooter event. So we'll be working on that, as well as doing some more active shooter training, some more tabletop exercises, and culminating in a full-scale exercise that'll be held in October, involving all of our law enforcement partners in Belknap County. So, we look at the school shooting that happened in South Florida. We look at those things. We want to learn from the mistakes that might have been made, or things that could be done better, and bring that here to our training program in the event that something were to happen here. As Commissioner Tar knows, we've been working on union contract negotiations, as well as changing our survey. So the blue cards that we have now, we do the citizen surveys. We're looking at it to make it a little bit more user-friendly for the officers, changing it to more of a business card format. That'll be a little bit more modernized with a QR code, I think is what it's called, on the back, where it can be scanned, and the survey's done electronically as well. It'll save us some costs in printing and postage costs, but more importantly, hopefully we can get a little bit more response, because we're averaging like 5 or 6 of these a month. And when the prototype's done, we'll certainly include you on that. Just piggybacking on what Lieutenant Simmons said about the active shooter presentations. Very good community awareness training that we provide. I know Lieutenant Sweat and I did one up at the college as well, working with their plans up there. But certainly there's a huge demand on that, and it's something in addition to their regular duties. But this topic is certainly on the hearts and minds of everyone, and to be able to go into different businesses or groups, provide these assessments, security assessments, give them some ideas and things that they can make their facility or their workplace a little bit safer, and then educate them on what to do, or maybe some signs to see before an active shooter happens. It's invaluable. Not to mention it develops a rapport and that feed of information that sometimes it opens up, so. And that's all I have. Oh, besides the overdose statistics. So, for year-to-date, we've had a total of 29 overdoses, 5 of which, if you look at the stats below, it says 2 for 2018. It's actually at 5 that are suspected at this point, although the actual toxicology hasn't come back on all of them, but we're looking at a total of 5 fatal. Included in your plan, in your packet, was the classification and compensation plan. This is for non-union city employees. This is created by the city manager. This will be submitted to the city council on April 23rd for their consideration, which reflects the cost of living increase, which would go into effect July 1st, as well as the new health insurance plan. So in May, after this goes to city council, we'll be looking for a commission vote in May on that. And that is all I have.
Anything under old business?
Nothing?
New business?
Nothing?
And confirmation of the next meeting date, May 16th.
Yes. I could change it to.
Anything under other business?
I want to mention that we're starting next month, we're going to do these on the third Wednesday instead of the third Thursday.
Is that now, is that set?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
It is?
Yes, and May 16th is that first.
The first
that
Wednesday. Okay, so the commission meeting will be moving to Wednesdays.
Yep.
Other business, anything?
Nothing?
Citizen comments. Remind you have 2 minutes, so.
My name's Dennis Lentz, I'm a resident here at the city of Columbia. I passed out a handout for y'all to take a look at. I spoke about the situation back in 2016 on notice to respond I filed about the situation where if it's not taken care of, the crime rate will rise. 2018, Laconia has been rated as the most dangerous cities in New Hampshire to live. Change has to start from the top. It has to start from you guys. Also has to be with the landlords too. These people have to be proactive on some of the things to correct certain safety issues which cause these scenarios to happen. Now you gotta consider that today, on April 19th, 5 years ago, I believe a situation could have been thwarted if they would have listened to someone a little more reliable than just drug informants without any verification. I wish y'all to take that to heart, because the things I've said has happened. It has to come from you guys and the landlords. If you will, grant me a moment after the nature of this meeting, I would like to explain a little bit more before this commission. Thank you.
Is there a need for non-public?
Nope.
No? So I will take a motion to adjourn.
Move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Tar, seconded by Commissioner Mello. All in favor?
Aye.
We will adjourn. Thank you.